I noticed that whenever Black Americans have a conversation and they bring it to people's attention that we literally fought and some of us unalived for the rights that a lot of people come to this country to enjoy, there's always a facet of people in the comments saying things like, y'all act like all y'all were out there protesting. Y'all act like all of y'all were Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Not all Black people were out there protesting. Y'all really just try to take credit for what everybody else was doing. First of all, I know that you got that talking point from the Boondocks. Okay, I watched the Boondocks too. Secondly, I've always hated that aspect of the Boondocks because for me, that was all I needed to see to know that the creator of the Boondocks was raised by a white woman. Because there's no way if you were raised by a Black woman in a Black household that you would come away thinking that the only Black people who really participated or did anything was the ones who showed up at the protests. Because my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my mother have countless stories of them squaring up in the streets against white people, running home from white boys in pickup trucks, having to square up with white women at the office, having to advocate for themselves at the local grocery store or the butcher's market when they were trying to overcharge them or make them pay the Black tax. There are countless ways that every single Black American person was fighting against racism in their everyday lived lives. You guys have no idea the terror that we lived under. You guys have no idea the abuses that we experienced on a day-to-day basis. Not even being able to walk out your house and look around, gotta look down because God forbid you make the wrong face at a white person. That could send you to jail or have you strung up from a tree. Y'all watch these stories and see these movies and y'all think that happened to a few of us. Y'all don't realize that happened to a lot of us. Little Ruby Bridges was not the only Black person to desegregate schools. Hell, my mom desegregated schools. She's 51. And she was one of the first Black girls to go to her high school. She had to deal with them throwing bananas at her in the hallway, making monkey noises at her. She ended up getting expelled from 3 different high schools because she was not about to let these white people bully her. So I'm saying all this to say, Black Americans, we've never had to be out there on the front lines protesting to be fighting for everybody's rights. We fight against white supremacy hand in hand in our real lived lives. Okay? So miss me with the, oh, y'all all not Martin Luther King. Oh, y'all not all protesting. Y'all can shut that shit on right on up. And furthermore, who are you to even say that? You're not even Black American to be even questioning that. Stay in y'all lane.
So this is a message for Hispanic people or Latina people, not just the white presenting Latinos, all of them, including the more Afro Latinos, when it comes to this whole deportation thing and solidarity with the Black community. You guys have no right to be angry at Black people who choose not to want to support or have solidarity with you. And the only reason why I say this is because the amount and level of disrespect that we Black Americans have suffered from the Hispanic community when we tried to have solidarity in the past is astronomical. And you guys know about that disrespect, because try being a Latina woman with your whole family and bring home a Black man as your boyfriend and tell them that you want to marry him. And how would your family respond to that? Because I know a lot of you, if you brought home a Black person, like a Black American, your family is not having that. So how could we possibly have solidarity when the whole family is like, you bring home a Black person and it's just like their head starts spinning and they have an issue with that? On top of that, and also what adds insult to injury is basically saying when Hispanic people deny racism, like the fact that they're racist and the fact that they're colorist, the first time that it hit me about the Hispanic racism back in your own countries is when Black Panther, the second Black Panther came out, and the guy who played Namor, I forgot his name, the guy who played Namor talked about how you guys treat darker skinned people and indigenous people in your own countries, and that mentality, you guys bring it here into this country, especially after we Black people have went through a lot of strides in this country to get certain things put in place for civil rights. And instead of leaving that at the door in those countries, you guys bring those mindsets with you. And then on top of that, literally here on TikTok, there was a girl who had like 1 million views, and I still have the video and I can pull it, where she was talking about, she was only 20, And I could tell she was having a hard time articulating herself because she was crying and emotional. She was talking about how she experienced racism and discrimination from her Hispanic community. And she said she was an Afro-Latina, and how she couldn't get a job and couldn't get hired. And a lot of these jobs are expecting you to speak Spanish. And so when I came behind her and I pointed out, yes, there are some things in the Hispanic community, what she's saying is true. It's just like the responses that I was getting from Hispanic people is just like the gaslighting that I would get from white people who try to deny racism. It's basically they were trying to say, oh, well, she wasn't qualified for the job. She wasn't. The same shit white people say. So if you do not have, none of you guys have a right to be mad at any black person for not wanting to stand behind y'all in solidarity. Because from me, I used to work a job when I was younger in a restaurant. And the Hispanic dudes, a whole bunch of Hispanic dudes back there, and they was not American, and they would just say the craziest stuff, and I had to check them. And after I checked them, they ain't saying nothing to me after that. Even with my best friend. She worked at a restaurant, whole bunch of Hispanic dudes working in the back, calling her the hard ER and the B word, and she checked them, and they ain't say nothing to her after that. They ain't say nothing to her after that. So a lot of us black Americans have very negative experience with you Hispanic people who you guys are very racist. You have disrespected us. And so, yeah, we're aware of the disrespect. And I understand maybe on an individual level where if it's a Hispanic, a Hispanic person that I know on an individual level, that's something completely different. But as a collective level, Hispanic people have not broken down their own racism and white supremacy and disrespect. And they fail to realize that in this system, in the United States of America, you guys, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, I don't care how pale your skin is. If you're a Hispanic person, you're closer to a black person than you are to a white person on this hierarchy. And Asian people are actually higher up on the hierarchy than you guys are. So if black people don't want to be in solidarity and don't want to help, I don't feel like we should not be shamed for it. And you guys have no right to misdirect your anger towards us. If a black woman says, I'm not protecting these kids, if ICE comes, whatever, or if a black person says, I'm calling ICE, or if a black person says, oh, well, I'm not going to support, I'm just going to sit back and rest and this, that, and that. Y'all have no right to be angry with us. No right. No right to be angry with us, especially after all the disrespect that not only we take from you guys, but other immigrant groups do it to us too, especially the Asians. And to add insult to injury, for me to find out that Asian people, and I don't know how true this is with the Hispanic people, but I heard that Hispanic people wanted to be classified closer to white than they did back in the day, instead of being in solidarity with black people for fighting for civil rights and equal rights, which is just insane to me. And it was I wish I kept the video. It was one Hispanic civil rights activist that basically was saying, oh, the black man struggle or the black struggle is not our struggle, this, that, and third. So they just basically didn't want to have solidarity with us. So please don't ask the black community for shit.
Over the past few weeks, one debate has exploded across social media. Why have some black Americans chosen not to participate in migration protests? That question has sparked thousands of comments, reaction videos, and online discussions. Some people have criticized black Americans, saying they should be standing in solidarity. Others have responded by explaining that choosing not to participate in a particular protest does not necessarily reflect opposition to immigrants. Today, we are exploring the different perspectives that have emerged in this conversation. This video isn't about speaking for every black Americans or every migrant community. Instead, it is about examining the viewpoints that have been shared publicly and why this debate has become so prominent. So let's get into it.
I got a question for you, for my black Americans. And I know I posed this before, but I'm going to ask it again. Every time something like this happens, I always got to pose this question. Black Americans, do you think if we was being deported, if ICE was looking for us, they say, hey, we want all the black Americans. We want all the indigenous black people. We want all the native blacks. We want all the freedmen. We want all the emancipated people. We want all the FBAs. We want all of them. And we're going to ship them off somewhere. Do you think these immigrant groups over here going to fight for us? I want y'all to think about that. Do you think these immigrant groups in America is going to fight for us? Do you think they're going to put their life on the line for us? Do you think they will get on TV and speak for us? Huh? Do you think they'll be in the newspaper doing the interviews? Say, hey, man, I think it's wrong what they're doing to the black Americans. No. You know how I know? Because guess what? Even when they were saying we was being detained, right, in Chicago, or they were trying to use this fear mongering thing like, hey, y'all gonna get deported, y'all gonna get deported. All they were saying was, see, we told you so. See, we told you so. But they ain't make no fuss about us being detained or being about to be deported. They did not do nothing like that. It was like I told you so. Like they were happy to see us be detained. Like they was happy to report the news like, hey, black Americans, they might be deported too. Like they was happy about that, but they weren't speaking out against it. You see what I'm saying? Y'all see the play that these people do, right? And another thing, shout out to my Chicago people. I'm so happy my Chicago people telling the truth and standing on business because I'm listening to the people. I'm not listening to no politicians. I'm not listening to the boule people of Chicago. I'm listening to the people that's on the ground, right? Even the people on the ground saying that the government or the city officials put these people in their neighborhoods. And I remember for 3 years when in the Biden administration, you have multiples and multiples of black American Chicago people at these city halls complaining like, don't drop these people off in our neighborhood. Now look at it now. Now look at it now. Now since they put the people in the black neighborhood, now you see Democrats holler, you see now? You see, we told you that Trump gonna get y'all. Now y'all put the issue in our neighborhoods. Y'all created that issue, Democrats. Y'all created this. Why y'all didn't put these immigrants in YT neighborhoods? Y'all didn't put some of these people in Mexican neighborhoods out there in Chicago from what I'm hearing. Y'all put these people straight in black neighborhoods. Y'all caused this problem. This is y'all problem. Y'all did this. The citizens of Chicago, especially the black ones, was protesting that shit. Any Chicago people, if I'm lying, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't live in Chicago. I just listen to the people. But go back to my point. A lot of these black immigrants, they want us to be deported. They want us to be with them as they get deported. Reason why? Because since they've been in this land, we've been protecting these people. We've been fighting for these people. We've been speaking out for these people. In the midst of all us doing that, they never really done nothing for us. You see them linking up with all these racist groups. You see them speaking all these talking points. Just like a brother mentioned. You could speak to these people on the streets. You could say, hey, what's going on? They'll look at you crazy. I live in Dallas, so I see all different types of groups of people. They do not speak at all. They act like they don't even want to speak to you. So why should my people get out here and stress over that? That's what I want to know. Why should my people stress over them, over a group of people that gave their ass for us to kiss? Huh? See, now since we ain't fighting for them no more, they want us to suffer with them. They want us to be scared of ice coming through the window. Nah, man. Nah, they're going to have to hold it on. But that's the question I want to pose for y'all. If it was us being deported, if it was us, would the immigrant class of people on this land, would they fight for us? I say no. Hell to the no.
Racist Latino community coming for Black Americans. Now we have other people in the diaspora talking about, but Black people are being deported too. What about us? We're not trying to be divisive, but I'm also remembering how many of y'all were sitting back saying that we were lazy, that we had no culture, we didn't know where we came from, and claiming things that are actually in our culture as your own. And I'm still not over the fact that a lot of y'all feel like Juneteenth, y'all should be celebrated too. So for y'all to sit in the comments and then co-sign on with that community that's being racist towards Black people, Black Americans especially, talking about, I'm so upset that the Black people are saying that they're not a part of this fight. It's all of us because some of us are getting deported too. Babes, we're Black American. Remember the same demographic that y'all said that we always want to be the main character and that we're so xenophobic because whenever we sit back and defend ourselves against people saying shit about us, we're those people. So please stop making Black Americans feel like they have to be fucking patriotic. Leave us the fuck alone. Remember, all the rest of y'all thought that y'all were the better imports. We were the old imports. We were here before America was America. Okay? And that is not a call for the pretendians. So, yeah. Leave us out of the whole conversation. If y'all want to team up because y'all can't stand Black Americans, then team the fuck up. But the law is the law, because there's the civil law and then there's also the criminal law. And some of them have broken the civil and the criminal. And for the Latinos, when I say, but we did Black Lives Matter, number one, you saying that is very racist, because that's negating that Afro-Latinos exist. So let's start there. And then on top of that, Black Lives Matter was about under the law. Things were not being done under the law. The deportation is happening because that is the law. We, the Black people, the Black community, we were not getting justice served. Killing people on the street is not a part of the rules of the land, baby. The rules of the land, just like any other country, you have to have a visa or citizenship to stay here for years. So comparing it and saying that y'all fought with a student in Black Lives Matter, number one, the numbers weren't numbering, okay? And number two, that's negating the fact that y'all have Black people in your community. So it still goes back to you being racist, because we were fighting for things that were actually due to us, called due process. Maybe if you learned the rules of the land, you would know what due process means. And that's exactly what Black Lives Matter was fighting for us to actually have due process if somebody broke the law, or if they didn't break the law and they were unjustly killed by the police. You being deported because you don't have proper documentation is just what's not clicking.
This is the time for all of us to raise our voices and to say this country is also our country, is also the country of our immigrants, because we are the one who built it.
Here we go with the bullshit. See, that's when it moves me.
The cries of Dr. Gerald Gabot, the Haitian immigrant in charge of the Immigrant Family Services Institute. She's reacting to the U.S. Supreme Court ruling Thursday that President Trump has the power to end temporary protected status for Haitian and Syrian immigrants, meaning some 45,000 Haitians on TPS in Massachusetts could be deported.
What exactly am I going to say to those 100,000 children who were born here and whose parents are on CPS and can be at any time deported?
Haitians and Syrians are here on TPS because they fled war, gang violence, and hurricane wreckage.
This is that bullshit. Now she gonna get her funky ass up there and say, this is our country because we built it. What did they build? And y'all do not get up here talking about y'all founded Chicago and y'all built New Orleans. Don't nobody want to hear that bullshit. And how y'all fought in the war where y'all literally were slaves and recruited by the French and they have no goddamn choice. I don't want to hear it. It is a slap in the face to Black Americans with a long lineage-based FBA, if you want to say, Black Americans, when immigrants get up here spouting that bullshit. It is a slap in the face and is disrespectful to our ancestors who actually did pour their hard work, blood, sweat, and soul into building this country. Once again, and we've said these things, I've said it a million times, coming into a home that is already built, reupholstering some furniture, doing some plumbing, swapping out a light bulb, fixing the flooring does not mean that you built the house. Coming to a dinner that's already been serving food, restocking some groceries, cleaning the dishes does not mean that you built the table or provided the food. Like, I'm going to need immigrants to stop the bullshit. And at the end of the day, if you guys, I think I saw Sister Bridget, shout out to Sister Bridget. I looked at the comments in this video and she said either they were fighting the war in 1802 or 1804, or they were over here in the USA building the United States of America. You can't have it both ways. This is not Burger King. You can't have it your way. Pick a side and stick beside it and stay there. You all were not over here building the entire country of the USA, especially when you started coming over here a good decade ago for temporary protection status. When you came over here for temporary protection status, in the 20 goddamn tens, you wasn't building it. If Johnny had 5 apples, bitch. So when y'all came over here because of a hurricane or some natural disaster, a few some odd years ago, we're talking about in the new millennia, y'all built America. The Syrian people that came over here in modern day times, escaping a war-torn country, built America when they came over here. I'm gonna need y'all to stop the lying, stop the grifting, and just say that you don't want to go back to your country. Just say that. But to say, oh, we built this country, ma'am, whoever that lady is, your accent is as thick as a bowl of cold grits. You didn't build a motherfucking thing in the United States of America. You probably just got here yesterday with that thick ass accent. You are not even Americanized enough to be sitting up here saying, we built the country, if you don't sit your funky ass down. And this is what we talk about when we say that you were constantly colonizing and co-opting the plight of Black Americans. And it's disrespectful because you're disrespectful because you're simultaneously ethnically erasing us and our ancestral lineage. And we're not going for that shit. Now, if y'all built America, go and build your own countries. Isn't that so simple? Isn't that so? That's so simple. If y'all are so great, y'all built a first world country. You have a whole country that's run by you. Everybody there look like you. You're not living next door to anybody oppressing you. You ain't got no systemic nothing. It should be a breeze and a cakewalk. Now y'all got money, y'all got resources, y'all got degrees, y'all have skills. It should be a cakewalk if y'all built a first world country to go home and rebuild yours. What y'all think about this? Spread love is the proclaim. Haitians built the United States of America.
AOC just once again tried to invoke Jim Crow in order to get Black people to stand up and be a human shield for illegal aliens. But Black Americans are not the human shield for Democrats to use whenever they get ready in order to have us riled up and ready to vote for them or to co-sign their disgusting policies. Check out this video.
Military force. We don't have a court system, right? They don't think they need judicial warrants. So you don't get due process. So you start creating this black box system.
That's right, black box warehouses.
Point a finger, whether it's like we saw in Jim Crow, whether you just point a finger and 100 years ago accuse a little black boy of something, you can point a finger and accuse someone of that today. If you think once you build that machine that it's only going to be reserved to that.
That's right.
See, young AOC doesn't realize that the Democratic Party has been promising Black Americans all types of ridiculous things that they have never been able to come through on. But miraculously, they were able to make it easy for illegal aliens to buy homes with I-10s. They were able to get illegal aliens into schools all across the city, in cities like Chicago. They were able to now they're doing full-scale No Kings rallies and protests all across the country, fully funded in order to show up for illegal aliens. You know who you have not really seen that for? The only time you've seen the Democrats do a full-scale assault and rally was for George Floyd. But you don't see it for literacy rates. The Democrats haven't done any of these types of protests for literacy rates, which are so incredibly low here in Chicago. Chicago is graduating kids who cannot read on a regular basis, to the point where they had to change the standard for what is a requirement for graduation. They decreased it so that they can continue to graduate more children. So you don't see the Democrats do anything to actually help Black Americans. But as soon as illegal aliens are in the least bit of discomfort, here comes AOC bringing up Jim Crow. We are not going to we're not going to rally the troops for illegal aliens, AOC. We're not.
Democratic Party is that they will co-opt language like lynching, and they will compare what's happening to people who did commit a crime to Black people who did not commit a crime. We did not commit a crime over here. We did not get lynched because we committed crime. No, that's a great racist. No, wait, people who got lynched, they didn't commit crimes. They were slaves and they were being punish for rules that shouldn't have existed. We cannot allow the language and what happened to black people to be
I'm going to do something. I'm going to stop because we're wrapping this up, and I got two more things to.
They actually do need to go because they are diluting the Black American vote. They're diluting the American vote. So no, they do need to go back to their home countries, which is the best place for them to be, unless they are actually in a dangerous situation. And in that case, they should have pursued the proper processes for gaining access to America, which is not jumping a fence. ICE agents are doing the work they should be doing, which is needed in many communities, considering Chicago is a major cartel hub. We do need ICE to do exactly what they're doing. Cities all across the country want ICE. AOC doesn't want ICE because AOC is more than likely indebted to some type of entity that has nothing to do with America.
This is the time for all of us to raise our voices and to say this country is also our country, is also the country of our immigrants, because we are the one who built it.
Given the circumstances in Haiti, I can understand her frustration. I can understand the fear that a lot of Haitians will probably have at this point. A lot of them have been here for, many, many years, 10, 15, 20 years, and this is probably all that they know. Some of them don't even have memories of Haiti and been living under this temporary protection status. But to say that you built the country, it's like, why would you build America but not build Haiti? That alone doesn't make sense. Like, why if you have your own plot of land, your own island that's for you, really it's technically like having your own private island that belongs to you and your folks. Why would you not build that and come over to somebody else's house and build that up and not build up your own house on your own private island, your beautiful island, by the way? That part does not make sense. And obviously we know who built the country. I mean, the country was built by foundationally Black Americans, the freedmen, the slaves, and then, the freedmen. So when immigrants started coming over here, they were adding to a foundation that was already built and just kind of put their, they added to it. I'm not saying that they didn't help.
So America's doors are closed fully to asylum seekers. We've set up agreements where if you want asylum, then we will find a country elsewhere in the world to take you. It's very simple, very elegant, a very complete solution.
Problem is that when you build in somebody else's house, you kind of give them the right to say, okay, well, it's time for you to go. This is my house. Now I'm gonna need you to go back to your house. And I'm not saying none of this as a way to poke fun at anybody's misfortunes, because I actually feel bad for a lot of the people who don't know what they're gonna do next, don't have no idea how to make a life in Haiti. So I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying that if she claims that immigrants built America, right? But why would you build America when you have a whole country that you can build exactly to the way that your people would want it to be, and just kind of make a better life for your people in your home country? They just don't make sense to me.
The discussion gained attention after videos and posts online questioned why relatively few Black Americans appeared in some immigration demonstrations. Many commenters argued that different communities should support one another during times of political or social disagreement. Others pointed to this history of cooperation between different groups in various civil rights efforts and asked whether that tradition should continue today. Those questions quickly spread online. Soon, responses began appearing from Black Americans offering different explanations for their personal decisions. Rather than responding with one unified message, people expressed a wide variety of opinions. That diversity of viewpoints became the real story. Many people who discussed the issue online emphasized that their decision was based on personal priorities rather than hostility toward immigrants. Some say that they believe every community has the right to organize around issues that affect them most directly. Others explain that they are currently focused on concerns such as economic opportunities, education, neighborhood safety, affordable housing, and business ownership. Several commenters argued that supporting one cause should remain a personal choice rather than a public expectation. Others added that declining to attend a protest does not necessarily mean someone disagrees with every goal of that movement. As with many public debates, these opinions vary widely from person to person. Another major topic has been the meaning of solidarity. Some people believe communities should consistently support one another whenever major public demonstrations take place. Others believe solidarity works best when it is developed naturally, rather than through public pressure. Some commenters argued that trust between communities grows through long-term relationship, not simply by appearing at the same event. Others responded that shared participation during important moments can strengthen those relationships. This difference in perspective explains why the discussion has continued to generate so much attention online. So one thing this discussion demonstrates is that communities are not monolithic. Within every group, people hold different political views, different life experiences, and different priorities. Some Black Americans have participated in migration demonstrations, others have chosen not. Some immigrant advocates have expressed disappointment. Others have said they understand that different communities often focus on different issues. Recognizing that diversity of opinions helps create a more accurate picture than assuming everyone thinks the same way. So to conclude, as this conversation continues, one thing remains clear. People across the country are discussing what solidarity means, how communities build relationships, and how individuals decide which cause to support. There are many perspectives on these questions, and reasonable people can disagree. Listening carefully to different viewpoints can help create more productive conversations than assuming everyone's motivations are the same. So now I would like to hear from you. What do you think? Should participation in public demonstrations always be expected across different communities? Or should individuals decide for themselves which issues they support? Share your thoughts respectively in the comments. If you enjoyed this discussion and want more balanced commentary on today's biggest conversations, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out next upload. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.